Here's an old term: action turns knowledge into wisdom. And the fires of creation is that process of action turning knowledge into wisdom. We all know, but until we do, it's not the experience and the understanding of the experience that it takes to understand it. An experiential situation is really what it is.
It's not about what you do and all of the things you create or don't create. It is truly about lifetime to lifetime endurance and gaining joy and happiness out of it. It's not about success. It is just about joy, happiness, and love.
Greetings, everyone. Andrew here, joined by Joel once again, talking about the Creator Series. We've been going for more than a year now, and we have made a switch to AI, learning the different methods, so it's no longer a glorified search engine for you. Joel, what can people expect if they join us on the Creator Series?
We take your practical use of AI away from search engines and chatbots into something that can actually amplify your life. We cover context engineering and prompt engineering. What's the difference between an agent and a chatbot? What's hype and what's actual practical use? And if you become a member, there's already a huge library of content creation classes on there for music, web pages, live streaming, and more.
Let's join the Creator Series and get your journey created. Welcome, everyone, to another Tuesday webinar. We're talking about reawakening the human symphony, social connections, sacred relationships, friendships in this modern world of over social medias, AI slop, and all those other things that take people away from being out there and enjoying community. I am joined by my usual suspects. Welcome, everyone. How you doing today?
Good,
Hi everyone. Yeah, we're good.
Hi everyone.
So I want to go to the panel and talk about the challenges of having regular friendships compared to what it was 20 or 30 years ago. So I want to start with Sam. How would you compare getting friendships 20 to 30 years ago to today?
Very challenging.
Okay. What's the main differences, you think?
Community, going out and actually not around certain social points. Mind you, when I was younger, it was the pub and places like that, but it wasn't all about, going out and getting drunk. There was a lot of community there and coming together, playing cards, playing games, getting together. And now, socially, I think there's quite a lot of isolation and very difficult to meet people in different places. But in the same question, is it or is it me?
Yeah. Bob, Laura, what are your views?
Yeah, the same. So much easier years ago, a little more difficult now, possibly because of the path I've chosen. It's not... You don't get necessarily more select in your friendships, but if you haven't got them right, then with the separation of densities, you just sort of drift apart. And then the other thing, as Sam mentioned quite rightly, is this isolation with the growth of AI and people doing so much online through Facebook and getting their needs met like that and having long conversations online. There's not the face-to-face communication that we used to have. And that was something we all enjoyed all that time ago, was going to pubs and then meeting people in groups and so on. And that has all changed in the last 30 years. And it's made, in some ways, friendships a little more testing at times, although those who, like Bob and Sam and you and Joel and were sort of on the same path, it makes those friendships much deeper. So as you go on your spiritual path and you learn more and you acquire more wisdom on the way, then there are benefits too.
Good. Bob?
I go back to like the pub culture in the 90s and 2000s, which was really lively. And now I think it's just a dying trade. And yeah, people used to come to a pub just to have fun, talk about stories, talk about work. And it was enjoyable. I had a really quite a strong community with my friends where I was brought up. We was a tight, close unit, and it was like layered. We'd have like a 20 people who was like my close friends, and then it'd layer out, but everyone knew everyone, and we all was on the same page where we just enjoyed clubbing and going out and socializing, and that was like the culture. Then as you grow older and you go through your chapters of ages, like my 20s, my 30s, now my 40s, as Laura says, you do become a little bit more reserved with who you speak to, who you give your time to, your energy to. I always think it's still good to come out your comfort zones and try and talk to people and try and, I mean, my own personal experience now is I've moved down from another part of the country of England. So I've moved from East Yorkshire, which is up in the north, to like down south where with Laura we live in Washington. And I've created a new friend group of I play table tennis. So I've created a new like group of people who I have like socialized with now, and it's good. I enjoy it. It's my outlook of socializing, and I think it needs to be scheduled into people's practices in the week. To go out to a community, go out to a dance. I mean, I've done dance competitions. I've done all sorts of little things because I've tried to develop new skills and meet new people. And some people find it quite difficult, which I understand, and I do at times as well. And it's like when you let go of all that fear that's surrounded with that talking and like communication, and you just allow yourself to just be, it does actually happen naturally. So yeah, it's a learning communication journey, and meeting new people on the way is such a valuable thing for everyone in life. So yeah.
So we've talked about socializations, challenges. So one of the big things in the last 30 years since the mid-1990s is the advent of video games, and how video games have taken people, in some scenarios, it's helped people grow socialization. And at the same time, it has also taken people away from socialization because these games are designed to be addictive dopamine hit release expressions. Okay. Now, you add social media, you add cell phones, you add the internet, you add all that other stuff, and we have a perfect storm in which taking away from people's natural socialization that's just built into your human DNA. One second here. Joel, are you there? Are we going to open up the Zoom room have callers here?
Yeah, the link is out. You can find it in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, and it is also in the show description.
All right. I'm seeing something. It looks like it's not admitting people.
Yeah, Sam's just got booted out.
Yeah. All right. So for some reason, it's not admitting anything. It's not admitting anyone. All right. Now it's. I think. There we go. All right. So if anybody would like to join us and talk about relationships, friendships, whatever it is, even sexuality, this is a conversation for you to guide and come and talk to us. We have a special product for sale for everyone called the Awakening of a Human Symphony, Reawakening the Human Symphony, which is what we're talking about today. These are tools, tips, techniques, revocations, invocations, and speeches for you to use to get yourself back into the socialization journey, whether it be sacred relationships, general friendships. We want to hear what people's challenges are also. So you can come and join the Zoom room. If you'd like to speak with us, all you got to do is hit the reactions button, click raise your hands. So the next thing I want to bring up here is everyone has a trauma in friendships and relationships. With the advent of the internet, backstabbing and betrayal has gone through the roof. Let's see, about 10 years ago, I introduced the backstab and betrayal revocation that a tremendous amount of people were able to use and apply to themselves. And 25 years ago, 30 years ago, backstabs and betrayals were awful. Would you guys agree that backstab and betrayal, when you add the internet, is worse than it was 25 years ago or less worse?
Well, it's worse because you're arguing against farm bots, aren't you? So
Yeah.
a lot of them are just instigating this kind of energy through people and sucking more and more people in as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Sucking more and more people in, that the dopamine hit of the troll that's speaking back to you. And a lot of people, they hover over social media just waiting to be evil sons of bitches.
Yeah.
And to say the most nasty and awful things to a person that's just, presenting their own perception.
I mean, for a while I came off Facebook and the other ones because, like, some people would say, oh, I had a really bad day today. So you'd say, oh, are you okay? I can't tell you. Well, then why did you put it on social media?
Yeah. And then there's the other people who are always saying I had a bad day because they are looking for pity.
Yeah.
They're using social media to draw people in.
Yeah. Is that because mainly they don't know how to start a communication and just talk normally? Or is it like an energy stealing?
Some of it is that. Most of it is narcissistic tendencies. That doesn't mean the person is narcissistic. They just have a tendency to need to get the dopamine hit of a response, because social media is a way to promote yourself privately, but through a public lens.
I hear you. So when people post things and then they're looking to see how many hits they've got or who's liked it, etc., etc.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
all ego-driven as well, that, isn't it?
Yeah, ego-driven. Okay?
Ego-driven and feel sorry for me and victim mentality. It's almost because people aren't doing the inner work, then they have to find some way of getting what they need.
I think it's safe to say, though, unlike most social platforms, when you post something, you actually do look and see how many people have commented or how many people have put thumbs up. It's a natural thing to do. It doesn't mean to say it's ego driven, because sometimes you just want to see how many people have been interested in whatever you've put on there, or whatever photos,
or laughed at your meme.
Or laughed at your or laughed and had a giggle at something you put on there.
Yeah.
It's just, it can be community. It can bring a community together as well, and some good conversations and some friendships. So there is positives to social media.
But the other thing is, it loses. You don't have tone or anything like that when everything is text or WhatsApp or social media. So there's no voice, is there? So everything is delivered, and it can be ambiguous as to meaning. Whereas if you're sat in front of somebody, you're getting the energy of everything, the words, what's going on around, the tones, and so on. Yeah, you're getting much more information about a particular sentence, because things can be misconstrued quite easily, can't they, in text?
And texting is not real socialization.
No.
How often has somebody said something in text and it was completely mistaken because the person projected onto the text what they thought somebody was intending?
Yeah.
I'm guilty
I've done
of
it
that. I'm
myself.
guilty of
I've done
that.
it myself.
Definitely
Yeah.
guilty.
A really common one. Somebody asks you something and they expect a long answer, and you just go okay back because you're driving. And the person doesn't take into context that maybe they're driving and they can't answer you, and they're demanding you to give a long response answer back in text versus talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Context is removed.
So much easier just to talk, though. I've done that so many times where I'm just texting and think, why am I doing this? And just leave the text and just ring that person. And then you're in the moment, aren't you? You're just explaining what you need to explain, and you're not keyboard surfing, whatever it's called. So yeah, it's
Yeah. And
A
then
lot of
you're in a conversation with somebody and they're doom scrolling in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And their keyboard tapping or their finger tapping gives it away as well.
Exactly. And you can hear their thunder thumbs going. Then when you say something to them, they get offended.
Yes.
Are you listening? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, I am.
Or you have the reverse. You have the people in the boomer generation. You're in mid talk with them, and they go, "You're not looking directly in my eyes,"
Oh yeah.
which then pisses off the younger community because you don't need full 1,000% eye contact through the whole conversation.
Yeah.
No, but that is the way boomers were brought up, isn't it? It's look at me when I'm talking to you. That's what you're told when you're younger.
Get out of my eyes.
So that's drummed into us when we were younger. So anything less than that appears to be rude or disrespectful. But that's just a program, we grew up with.
Right. Okay, let's talk about cell phones at the dinner table.
Etiquette.
Basic etiquette. My mom said, don't put your elbows on the table, use the right fork, use the knife when you're supposed to. Basic etiquette, great stuff. And then something called table conversation. Okay? So what did you do today? Did you have a good day? Did you have a bad day? How are your friends doing? Just share. A lot of modern families and relationships don't do standard table conversation. They've got something on in the background. They've got something going on in their head that they're choosing to not share. The social media is infecting their brain. Okay? They're thinking about their next Instagram post or the post that their friend put up. How can I one up them? Even though that's not the actual real conversation, that's the intent in the behind.
We've lost a lot of realness and that family feeling. So yes, I grew up everyone around the dinner table and we shared our day, and that's how we brought our boys up. Right from when they were little, we would try and eat with them so that they get socialization. And it's just the manners as well, and the eating and the enjoyment of food and making that a family thing, isn't it? That comes with the enjoyment of food, sat round and everybody sharing it. And then later it becomes like they have theirs in front of the telly, or a lot of families eat in front of the telly.
Yeah.
On their lap. I've done that too. But you lose something when you're not getting that face-to-face communication around food. Food is meant to be shared, isn't it?
Sure.
Yes.
And that goes back to the original Hearthstone teachings.
Yes. Yeah.
In the Hearthstone, it's not just the sharing and creating and making of food. It's the sharing of each meal and experience in the same home that acknowledges that there is a bigger universe at play through every meal, through the way that the food that has come to you in the great food web of life, to the great challenges that family faces to stay in communication with each other.
Well, yeah, because so many kids have got their own tellies in their own rooms. I mean, mine had. And then that comes down to you don't watch telly together anymore. So we would all sit round watching. People in England might remember Z-Cars from way back in the 60s or something like that before my bedtime, and the whole family watched it. Now everyone's watching something different in their own room.
Yeah.
There's no communication and talk about the actual program itself. Everything is isolated to just what you're watching.
Okay. Now let's move on to actual relationships. Okay. So many people want a relationship that is sacred, that has all the great balances in it. But the vast majority of people do not take responsibility for their own life. Many of them live in some minor form of delusion, okay, whether it's where they actually are in social standing or not because of social media, or their their financial awareness of others versus themselves creates challenges. They haven't looked at any of their own natural traumas, project on others. Okay, many of them are on depression medicines, SSRIs, etc., which means they can have imbalanced moods and concepts like that. That doesn't make them unfriendable. It just makes them more unique to have to get into a form of relationship with.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people, when they think sacred relationship, oh, it's going to be sacred sexuality, sacred friendships. You're always going to be 1,000% honesty with each other. 1,000% honesty doesn't exist in any relationship. Okay. There are certain things that a person just keeps to themselves for whatever reason. And if you go and challenge that boundary over and over and over again, you become the nag, or worse, you become the undesirable person because you can't respect the most basic boundary of this is what I want to keep internally to myself. And the more you demand and demand and demand 1,000% openness, the more you will get closedness.
Well, that's a bit narcissistic as well, isn't it?
Sure. But social media has created that scenario in so many relationships.
Yeah.
Relationship, but I think the biggest one I can think of in a relationship is compromise.
Yeah.
In compromise, you become a
What
team.
is
What is compromise?
Yeah.
When you can come to some like neutral ground with situations, or you become a team where you understand the person you're in a relationship with. You understand their needs or his needs, and you work together. And yeah, the compromise is working as a team.
Yeah. How many marriages have we seen break down into pure chaos and divorce and hatred of the spouse and the manipulation of the children afterwards?
Yeah. Too many.
That has become a poisoned well for many, many children growing up. They grew up in a divorced family where the mother and the father are forever gaslighting each other, forever arguing with each other because they couldn't get over whatever was the separation. Okay? This is not to pick on one or the other. That's just the thing. They never got over the separation, and they're both gaslighting each other. And then what does that child do when they grow up and get into their relationships? They gaslight everything around them.
Yeah.
And don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, same patterns. The patterns, it's an imprint that goes onto the children. And then patterns manifest in narcissistic tendencies, gaslighting. And yeah.
Now, let's talk about... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, until one day somebody does their own work and says, no, I'm not going to continue that. And they're aware enough and can see the patterns that are being passed down and copied.
Which means a bunch of relationships, one person's working on themselves and the other person isn't.
Yeah.
And what is the inevitability if one is growing and one isn't growing, or one has zero growth or backwards growth? 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They can never really get anything moving to life. And you see many, many, many marriages, friendships, and relationships that are exactly that, where one person must lower themselves to the other person's level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when compromise doesn't work. Not long term, because then you're sacrificing your own path for someone else.
Is it even compromise at that point if the other person isn't doing anything?
Victim mode, martyrism.
Yeah.
It isn't compromising anymore.
No.
Well, they end up actually stepping on your journey, don't they?
A lot, yes. Okay. And then we add sexuality into this. Okay, every generation has had their people with. I don't want to talk about the sexual abuse side, just promiscuity that created the generational challenges of their era. Example: the promiscuity of the '80s versus the promiscuity of the '90s is a vastly different thing. Okay, and then you have the promiscuity of the 2000s, where women and men are getting 200 partners by the time they're 21, 300 partners. What does that do to the soul when you've been with that many people? Where back in the 80s and the 90s, it was 25, 35, 55 versus 200 or more.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of these people, like the young ones I've seen going on dating apps, and it's not dating, it's just hookup apps.
Hookup app. It's the hooking without money.
And then I read something the other day, and there's got to be an element of truth with that. With every sexual partner that you have, you're obviously sharing your soul. So there's parts of your soul that could be left. And if you're having that many encounters, what must it be doing to you?
Oh, I could go in for hours and hours. First thing first, when you have a orgasmic release or a failed orgasmic release with a person that you barely know, your energies intermix, your shadows intermix, your bad sides intermix, and your good sides intermix, to the point you can't tell what your good side or bad side is, was, or will be, because you've been with 25 partners in 1 year, or you've been with 200 partners in a year, and you have 200 people's bad sides, good sides, all intermixing with your own, and you've lost your own internal sacred sexual identity.
Mm.
And then many of those people who have those forms of high body counts, they have great orgasmic energy, but they're actually not achieving real orgasm anymore.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay? They're achieving sport sexuality, like scoring a point in a baseball game or a basketball game.
Mm.
Right?
And then also with that,
right.
surely your creative side, like your creative spark, that you could get that with Sacred Union, that's not being utilized either, is it? Because it's just a sport.
Right. It's score point, crowd cheers, go on offense, go on defense, score point, crowd cheers, score point, crowd cheers. There's no true enjoyment of that journey. There's no future with the person you had, with the partner you had 11 partners ago.
Right? So how did the pendulum swing so far the other way? Is that because of the 40s and 50s people were more suppressed and expected just to not have sex until you were married, and then it swung the other way?
No, well, we have to go back to the Summer of Love, in which that 40s, 50s housewife idea was broken by free love, sex, and drugs, and rock and roll. Okay? That's what began the large, high promiscuity journeys for the people of that generation. And every generation it got a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. And then the internet and social media come around. Okay? Dating apps are eventually the highest form of evolution of that, where it's just there for hookups. Like I said, it's just like having a hooker, but there's no money involved. That's what these dating apps have evolved to with the modern dating concept, even though there are many people who don't want to have a hookup culture. But hookup culture took over because of drugs, sex, and rock and roll that started in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and got advanced by what? Mass marketing of sexuality on television, TV shows, and these romance comedy shows or romance shows, soap operas that had no form of what a real relationship was.
Yeah.
Love Island.
Yeah, and the social media and so-called celebrities. And even when you think about it, like going back to my grandma, you'd only show a certain amount of flesh, so to speak. And now the young girls, Like, they've hardly got anything on. There's nothing to the imagination, is there?
I gotta challenge you. Some of the stuff the girls wore in the 80s and the 90s were more flesh was shown than today.
Okay.
Boob tubes. Remember boob tubes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, from
I
a
mean,
projection point of view, are you opening yourself up to that as well?
No, the thing is, the 80s and 90s girls didn't have a social media page in which they have 35 sexy pictures of themselves with all the filters in it.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah.
Right? You had a Polaroid of yourself.
Yeah.
And you didn't share that with anyone unless you saw your family, you saw your family's photo album.
Yeah.
True, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say the clothing that the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s girls would wear was far more provocative than what is today. And what is today just looks back on the previous provocative era and tries to emulate it. But then add in social media, beauty filters, the differences in makeup. Okay, the price of clothing has come way down.
Yeah.
Okay, and a lot of these things wash 5 times, throw away.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
quality to them anymore.
Yeah. Well, wash 5 times, fall away. Wash, yeah, to the next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas in back then, everybody had their unique style too, because they made it themselves or altered it, added. So there was some pretty cool clothes then.
Yeah, and I will still continue to say the 80s, 90s, 2000s girls were far more revealing, but they didn't have the internet to amplify it.
Okay.
Yeah? It didn't have the internet to amplify it. Now we talk about yoga pants. And you go to a gym, a standard workout gym, and the girls come in these extremely tight, revealing clothing, and they've got their phone on and they're live streaming their arms and legs workout and wondering why people are looking at them.
Yeah, I mean, there's this new fashion at my gym with this. Sound like I'm really old, but it's like it clasps around their bum, and you've got extra, I want to like elasticated, which highlights the bum cheeks.
Right.
It's padding, isn't it?
And then shows thigh gap.
Yeah.
Okay?
And a lot more.
You see the camel toe right away.
Camel toe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is it where a girl goes to a gym in their own head? I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm wearing something that makes me look cute. I'm filming myself exercising that I'm going to put on the internet. At what point do they realize the narcissistic perception of it? Most of them don't.
I was going to say they just don't, because it's become the norm.
It's become the norm because of social media.
Mm.
And then if you have a girl or a guy who constantly puts out sexy pictures on their social media and you're dating that person, is it okay to have a boundary and say, if we're going to have a long-term relationship, the posting of sexy pictures has to end?
Oh.
Modern woman who wants to be the girl boss says, no goddamn way.
Yeah, I'm a free woman.
A free woman. Okay? In one aspect, it's right to hold that boundary, but another aspect, if you're truly serious about the relationship and a person has defined a boundary that gives them challenge and you ignore it, you're not really honoring that relationship, are you?
Nope.
No.
Okay? Is it okay for a girl to go out on a girls' night in their most sexiest of clothes, to have free drinks given to them by everywhere they go, and a guy goes, I'm going to go out with my guy friends, and the girl says, you can't do it?
No, that's not okay.
The rule of double standard.
Yeah.
This is not pick on women. because men have many of their own double standards. Okay? This is just as an example of what it takes to maintain a relationship. Okay? Who has more pressure on getting relationships now, the man or the woman?
Oh, the man. I mean, even like some people, like some men I know, have been told off for holding a door open for a woman.
Right.
I mean, they have a real, and even if they approach a woman now, like the crap that they get back, you know, a lot of men, you'd be scared to do that.
Right.
And so many people have, like I know with my own son, have demasculated the man and what the man, you know, wants to be in that role.
A lot of the modern women have become unapproachable by men. Okay? You must fit to this beta male perception, or you will simply be reduced to the friend zone. And what is the friend zone? You may be a friend, and you may have one chance, but the reality is you never have a chance with me. And then when the guy leaves the friend zone, the girl wonders, what happened? Why is no one helping me move my couch?
Yeah.
Okay? Why has no one helped me put together this IKEA, you know, whatever it is? Okay? Because you treated them like garbage for so long. You didn't treat them like true friends.
Yeah.
You treated them as the second, third, or fourth option with the glimmer of a kiss that might happen.
Yeah.
Okay?
And paying for dinners and things like that, you know, just abusing.
Well,
Abuse.
it's on a string, isn't it?
Right. Now let's flip this over to men. Okay? Many men have been influenced by what's called the manosphere. Okay? It's the man version of feminism. Okay? Where you're starting to fight for feminism versus masculinism, and the two sides begin to fight, try to create boundaries, etc. But the manosphere was abused by people like Andrew Tate. Okay?
I was just about to say, is that what you're talking about? What he was talking about?
He's just one, and he's not even that bad. There are
Yeah.
people that are 20,000 times worse with just as big followings of him, and all they're doing is selling you crappy male self-help dating courses that have no boundaries in reality. And then when you go up to talk to a modern woman, your techniques seem like the most ruthless, cunning things in the world, and you're rejected because the modern woman's going to go, hey, you don't meet the criteria of what I need. Okay? Because so many of them, you need to be the bad guy for the girl to like you, but the modern woman doesn't want the bad guy anymore. They want the wealthy man who's got everything put together, and hopefully the women will have their stuff put together because they're not just looking for a relationship, they're looking for wifing. Okay? They want the condo with the summer home. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as materialism doesn't take over the wholeness of the relationship. Which is where many men and women are. Materialism defines the growth of the relationship.
Yeah. Or even as a stop at the beginning.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to open it up to questions. So if you are here in the chat room or the Zoom room, you can go and click the raise your hand button on the reactions button, and we can open it up to conversations. While we're waiting for people to do that, we're going to talk about the next subject here. Okay, 1 second here. I want to go back into sexuality. Okay, we talked about the hookup culture. We talked about the perceptions. Now let's talk about what sexuality does in a relationship, a normal relationship, not something that's abnormal with social media influence. When two people actually have intimacy that isn't always penetration. Okay? We call it spooning, you call it hanging out. But the reality is you're sharing time in between sexual encounters that allow each person to go through trust, growth, interdependence instead of codependence, the sharing of that energy where the man feeds the woman feeds the man, because that chemistry, that alchemy of presence among each other amplifies the growing feeling of love. Is that how does that relate to sexuality, though? The growing feeling of love.
Well, surely with that, then there's another expression. It's another expression, isn't it? So then you can further that expression through that, can't you?
Sure.
But
A lot of people in this modern area don't actually have that in between in sexual encounters where they grow together, because the modern world takes them into so many distracted directions where they're not truly present with each other in that state of just closeness. One's
that's
on their
why,
phone.
yeah, that's why I love what you've always said about the friendship.
Yeah.
Start with the friendship first.
Friendship first. One's on their phone, on social media. One's playing a video game. One has to bring work home because they need to be able to keep that job. Another one doesn't bring work home from their job and wants to engage the person that has to bring home, and it creates these imbalances where they don't schedule time because of the unawareness of what close interpersonal time really means. You can be doing folding laundry together and still have that close interpersonal time. Okay? And it's not even about large conversations. Sometimes you're just both quiet together, because sometimes you don't need words. And in this over amplified world of social media, when's the next 3 dots under the text bar that the person's responding to me? Okay?
Yeah.
And you have to fill every second of the conversation.
Well, the amount of people that I witnessed just going away on holiday in that quiet, intimate time, even going out to a restaurant, and both of them are on their phones and they don't even talk to each other. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
And that intimacy, like even just putting the phone down and being in that quiet space together, is far greater than both of you sitting there on your phones.
Right.
Well, it's that presence, isn't it? It's having that presence, whether you're quiet or whether you're having fun, whether you're in a conversation. It's being fully present in that moment, isn't it?
Right. Some people just don't know how to be present, even with their own selves.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay?
That's because they're brought up in a world of do and distraction and everything else, and can't look within or even take that time out.
Well, I notice with my son as well, it's the stimulation. They've just become so immune to be stimulated all the time. They can't bear to have that silent moment.
Right.
Instant gratification.
They rather have that silent moment.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, if this conversation is interesting you, we have a brand new product out called Reawakening the Human Symphony, as well as sacred relationships, and exploring the very concepts that we're talking about. With it are different speeches and formats that you can apply to yourself to do the out loud name it to claim it system that allows you to go through the journey of helping to identify and growing in yourself. You go to my website, andrewbartzis.com. Also, we have a bunch of 30-day challenges that are out there right now. You go to the website, andrewbartzis.com. The 30-day challenges are for free, but we're asking people to step up, come out of that mediocre world, come out of your little hermit's den, and start to awaken your personal journey through socialization, through experiencing, and through the grander journey of sharing who you are with other people, to no longer be hidden as the hermit.
Yeah, you are worthy. That was a big one through all the teachings that I've done, is the worthiness of it all.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's worthy of that time for them to do their practice, especially as a free practice that Andrew's been putting out there, to build that community and the worthiness for yourself to feel that self-love to continue it, because it's made a massive difference in my life.
So we're going to open it up to questions for people that are in the Zoom room. You can click the reaction buttons and click raise your hands. We'd love to hear from you on the subject of relationships, sexuality, friendships, the challenges of what this generation is going through. Also, if you'd like to join us, you can go into the show description, and it'll be a way for you to come and join the conversation where we're at. All right, so we've talked about a bunch of stuff. Now I want to talk about fear of missing out, FOMO. Okay? This drives a lot of modern youth to go and do the social media thing, to go and do this, that, whatever it is the modern kids are doing. And then you have the Gen X and Gen Z and millennials who have a different perception of what fear of missing out is, versus what the boomers have their own fear of missing out. Each generation has this interpretation. Example, when it comes to video games, it's the fear of missing out on this video game and the fun that it can create, but the isolation that it creates. So let's talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. Cricket? Who's missing out here? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's been through that phase, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we got a question in the Rumble chat that might be relatable. Question is, how do we gently tell our girlfriend or boyfriend that they're addicted to staring at their cell phone screens or TV screens?
Bluntly in front of them and understanding that they more than likely can't hear you. Okay? And you want to you want to resolve that they're staring at their screen. You know, you could have them install a screen watcher, time watcher on them, so it tells you how many hours you're spending on social media. Okay? That's a little tracker thing that says when you're on TikTok, when you're on YouTube, when you're on X. It adds up all the time per week and per month, and that's a blatant way to do it. It's never an easy subject matter to get with anyone because they become very defensive right away. If it is a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you got to know the person. How are they going to react when you call them out on their bullshit? They know what they're doing at a subconscious level and a conscious level, but they truly don't care at that moment because the addiction of occupying time and the dopamine hits they get out of occupying time is more important in that short interim moment than the greater awareness they have of spending time with someone. A lot of times that person has no awareness of the future or their past. They're only present in that dopamine hit moment of looking at the phone or the screen. Okay? Now, this has existed in the past. It's just extremely accentuated now. In the past, it was men watching sports, women watching their soap operas, vice versa, the man watching sports, the woman reading their book. Couples have gone through many ways of ignoring each other throughout the many generations of history. Now it is just much more dopamine addicted hit journeying than it was in the past.
Well, now it's easy, isn't it? Because it's in your pocket.
Yeah, in your hand most of the time, not even in your pocket. Okay?
But don't you think as well it's another layer of escapism and less communication? Because
Yes,
there
that is
was
all.
this. Sorry.
That is all escapism.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, escapism is a really, really big teaching, and that journey of escapism has so many. What is the right word for it? Nuances of avoidance, right? Nuances of not dealing with what's inside. Escapism can be extremely insidious, and the phone makes escapism easy. Easy.
So where does FOMO come from? Lack of self-esteem?
I want to be social, but I don't have social skills. I want to be able to do this with everyone, but I don't have the right clothes. I don't have the right makeup and the right clothes. I'll never be able to be with them, but I'm always going to try to be with them. I'm half autistic and I don't really have any friends. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Doubt, blame, shame, guilt, etc.
That's all in your worthiness teaching, really.
Yep. And what is worthiness?
How you value yourself.
Yeah. But for me, one of the biggest things on the worthiness was accepting love. I was very good at giving it out, but I was not willing to let it in. And I was so unconscious of that. That took me a long time to unravel that.
That's because we fear being hurt again, isn't it?
Yeah. And being in that fear, fight and flight mode.
So let's delve deeper into escapism. Okay? So what was the escapism we had in the 90s and the 2000s?
Video games?
Video games, sports, watching television on sports, cable news, cable television. Okay? Shopping.
Yeah.
Okay? Shopping is mostly done on the internet now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Radio. Who listens to radio anymore? Only the people going to and from work in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If that.
Okay. Pornography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's men and women as well, isn't it?
Right. That was one of the biggest dopamine destructive hit things from the 90s and the 2000s. The advancement in the freeness of pornography for everyone, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they wouldn't get embarrassed about it being on the top shelf in the newsagents.
Having to go to a 7-Eleven and buy a magazine and go through the purple face embarrassment. Okay?
Look how that's progressed, though. From when you used to be in like VHS tapes, and it was like stashed in one of your parents' corners, and then it's like progressed to mobile phones, and then now it's just available just at the touch of a button. You can watch anything, any kind of porn. At least it was like in the 80s and 90s developed, and it was harder to get access to porn. Now it's just instant. It's just there for everyone.
Let's define what was harder. You actually had to go to a countertop and pay with cash or a credit card.
Yeah.
There's no anonymity. Porn and modern provides all the anonymity. They're not going to judge you. What is it you're getting? You know, all the junk in the trunk 7 versus, cheerleaders and football players. Okay, whatever the title's going to be. Okay. Versus something crazy. I don't want to. You can all figure out what a crazy. Okay.
There's got to be something in that as well, like on the like rather than a paper print, say, and then being on the phone, which we all know it's a demon hunter and collects everything. So if they're going around with it, they must be collecting even more.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we've got a person in the chat room that wants to come and talk to us. All right, Sarah, signal to unmute. Sarah, are you there?
Oh.
1 second.
Hands down.
All right, Sarah, I gave you a signal to unmute. All right, apparently she can't unmute. All right,
There she is. She's
there
back.
she is. You should be able to unmute, Sarah.
There.
I should be, but my fingers kept missing the button and making it disappear. So there's my FOMO.
Yeah, you had fat finger.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my question is with the FOMO, and if we have so much available to us, how the fuck are we in the fear of missing out? You ain't missing out on shit. You're just not searching the right channels.
There's so much to miss. And you don't want to be on the tail end of the viral hype of whatever it is.
So what do you think they're, what does that do? Are we just in a spin?
Yes, we are in a spin, but we're all waiting for the next viral thing to take over. We're going to lead the charge versus being the last one in.
Well, what are they leading the charge to?
Nothing.
Okay, that's part of the problem.
Part of the problem. Nothing. 12 likes, 25 likes, 35 comments. Okay.
So here we are with solutions. Thank you for bringing these things up for us to look at,
Uh-huh.
to play with. Because I spent 25 years with a person in the escape world. They started out with WoW.
World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed playing games early on, but that was the only thing. And trying to, oh my gosh, you don't dare interrupt.
Okay. WoW is World of Warcraft is a perfect example of a game that had the greatest potential to create high creativity, but they started, once the game got past its third expansion, they started purposely programming it to be super addictive on purpose, and it was done by the corporate elites that had took over the gaming industry in 2009's 10 to 11s. Okay.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because when I was in around 2008, I was literally looking this up to see if it was technically addictive.
Right.
Because I watched this.
The original game was called EverQuest, and it was nicknamed Evercrack. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was the first game that psychologists looked at and began to see people go through full psychological degrading by overplaying the game, not taking care of themselves, losing all of their friendships, only having friendships through the game, okay? All the time having to pay a significant amount of money to stay
for
at the top
fake
of
gold.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're really going to take your food money and you're going to go buy virtual money so that you can color your hair and change the color of your scab. Seriously?
Right, because they've lost their identity to the game.
It's much safer in there.
It is. Well, no, it isn't. There are some evil people inside that game that do some evil things to people. Very big predators.
Oh, I saw them too.
Yeah.
Absolutely, but they're not physically in your face. They won't see you cry.
No, they won't.
No, they won't smell you sweat, but they know that it's happening. And
Exactly.
they do it on purpose. Absolutely.
Now, World of Warcraft is not the only game that's like that.
No.
Virtually every game out there is designed that way since the 2008, 9, 11, 2008 to 2011. All the big video game studios moved into that direction.
And we've all been led down the garden path, especially since the advent of the television and our Vita Vita Vegemin advertisements.
Okay.
Right?
Or
The level of
multi-level
propaganda
marketing.
that we've succumbed to is...
Multi-level marketing. Remember
Yeah.
Herbalife? Remember how Herbalife was
I
everywhere?
participated in Herbalife, and I'm thinking, I'm really going to do this? No, I can't. I'm sorry. I have to stop that.
Versus the Amways of the 80s and the 90s.
And Amway tried to hold on. Bless their hearts. They really did. They tried to expand.
Amway should have had physical stores. That's their failure. They should have
I agree.
transitioned out of multi-level marketing, and there should have been Amway stores like there were Walmarts everywhere.
I completely agree with that. And the relationships fall in with that too, because I've been to several of these meetings, and it is like going to cheerleader camp. Boy, do you feel like you belong.
Yeah, they take all the self-help motivation techniques and just apply it to salesman businessship.
Right, and they want you to get all cozy with the person above you, so you get to respect authority, right? And
Right.
You want to strive to be that top dollar. You can do it. Meanwhile, you mean absolutely nothing to them,
Right.
except for the dollar sign that you have the potential to bring.
That's right.
And maybe for those that are narcissistic, they get to watch you squirm. They get to get that feed off of your energy because you want to come up and worship them. We've got somebody we can worship and be in relationship to. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So this brings me to the next subject, the parasocial relationship that people have with podcasters. Example, Joe Rogan, one of the biggest podcasters in the world, love him or hate him. There are people that will go to they don't ever listen to a show. They only go to the comments and troll people in the comments. Okay? That parasocial relationship where they think they know you as if you're the best friend in their life, but in reality, you just listen to their conversation. You listen to their talks. You listen to whatever it is they're saying. And this parasocial relationship has really induced a lot of isolationist tendencies into people.
I was just watching a program where it was a Quantum Leap, and Sam got kidnapped by this gal who was in love with the character of the soap opera doctor.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, we want to get in there and relate to that fantasy character, and then we want to have that somehow in our real life, but we'll make do with that fantasy and we'll isolate because I've got Joe Rogan. I'm good.
Yeah. I've got Joe. I've got this. I've got my this cast, that cast, this show, that show. I have whatever I need at the tips of my instant gratification fingers.
But the physical touch, the deepness, the intimacy, the exchange.
Even if you're just walking in and shaking somebody's hand, saying, "Hey, how's it doing?" Shaking a hand, okay, versus a hug.
Or seeing the same cashier 2 days in a row or 3 months in a row.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where? Okay, so I was a kid of the 70s, and Dr. Spock was a big, popular, not from Star Trek, but
yeah, I know
the author. You shake hands with your kids. You don't hug them. You don't love them. You'll give them the wrong idea. So there's a lot of we'll say Gen X. I guess that qualifies as Gen X.
So I'll bring a little something up. Dr. Spock was actually a CIA plant from MK Ultra.
Go figure.
Yeah,
drag that shit out into the light.
Mind control. He understood the mind control techniques and was heavily promoted and marketed in the background to make sure that these ideas would get out as part of a grander mind control program to put onto new parents of that generation. Many others were also. Also, many science fiction and fantasy writers of the 70s and the 80s were the same thing.
Oh yeah.
The top 20 authors of the top 20 authors in the 70s and the 80s, at least 6 of them were CIA plants. Paid to write stories to influence a culture and a concept into XX or X. Why does the dystopian end of the world stories take over all the time? Because they was planted in the 70s and 80s by those people.
Agreed. How they doing?
Why was humanity always falling into nuclear? Why is humanity always destroying itself?
We've been lured away to find that to be the end goal for us versus something else, something better. We can only have death and destruction. That's where we've been herded.
Here's another
the corral of that.
Here's another really big in-your-face example. When Trump shut down USAID, love it or hate it, it's not about politics. The rap music industry is no longer on any of the top 100 Billboard charts.
Really?
Yeah. They're not getting the money that came back from USAID, and they are not making any of the charts.
How did you come by that link?
Oh no, that was published. I forgot what article it was, but that's, you can look it up. Rap industry losing its audience after USAID, and you'll see all the articles that were promoted about it. Okay.
Oh, that's incredible. Okay.
Yeah.
So has all of this, multi-body count, hookup, all that shit, is it another way to just really poo-poo the sex industry?
No, it's a way to validate the sex industry.
Well, how come these gals don't get to be entrepreneurs? I think it's terrible.
You do realize only 1.5% of the people that are on OnlyFans make anything more than like $1,000 a month. 1.5%. Okay, the rest make $70 a month, if that, $100 a month, and they're putting out 20 hours of content, 30 hours of explicit content a month.
That's that FOMO.
Okay. Well, no, I don't want to have a normal job. And I understand that. Okay.
But maybe they keep trying because they want to be so popular and be that 1% again.
That's part of it. But materialism is what's driving it. Materialism was what's driving it. Now, the sex industry has lured every generation, has had its own challenges with it. You now add social media, OnlyFans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the reality is, it used to be you went to the strip club and you made your $2,000 a week, $8,000 a month. Okay. But the strip club did what? Instantly put you into prostitution, drugs, the most terrible of people everywhere you went. Now you're doing it from the privacy of your own home, and you have your people that are generating whatever income you do, and all this content you're putting out is not actually earning you the value of what a normal sex worker would make. Then they end up going into actual sex work because their OnlyFans page continuously fails.
It's like they knew the human brain.
Exactly. It's this grand psyops on humanity's culture.
So in order to stick it to the man, we need to work on those relationships with the self.
Yep.
And then the next. How do you call it? The certain degrees of separation?
Yep, degrees of separation. Yep.
So then technically, I have a question about our relationship. What degree of separation is that?
You talking
I talk to you ever often on the right here, right now.
Okay.
But I've never physically met you. So what kind of...
So we have a verbal relationship in which I've given you advice over the years, and then the practice you have done on your own. I may have sparked it, but the practice that you did created changes within yourself, which has created a closeness because you realize when you actually practice to create a change.
Yes, you have been instrumental in fostering my relationship with myself. That was how I can control, or at least begin to observe and take responsibility for my own energy.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be able to dictate the energy that is outside of my bubble, but my choice and my actions have every effect on my personal bubble of reality.
Okay. I've also been a consistent factor in your life of ups and downs and in betweens and thunderstorms of emotions. That consistent factor of work on yourself, take care of yourself, self-heal, self-nurture, and at times pointing you to say, hey, you can't avoid this anymore. Okay?
Agreed.
That's what real practical teachers do versus the AI slop teachers that are out there now. Real teachers, real teachings, not teachers, have a price to pay, which is responsibility to do something about it. And spiritual bypassing is the common part of today's culture. They don't want to take on the responsibility of actually having to do it. They want someone to do it for them, which turns into these people who just shop for healings and never actually process or do the work. Okay? Now, you've been practicing the teachings for how long?
At least since 2018, so...
Okay. What have they done for you?
Help me build a stronger foundation when the outside waves get a little bit bigger, when I feel a tinge of fear of missing out, fear of, I overcompromised in my relationship. And trying to navigate those waters, I can look at my own energy and I can say, oof, I recognize that. That's a loop. I've heard that before. I feel like I'm being driven in a certain direction. I can change this. I can explore this. Either way, it's here and it's up to me to do something with it.
Okay. Have I been a financial burden on you?
No, you have not been a financial burden on me. And that financial burden would be my choice.
Right. The reason I bring that up is this modern culture is demanding everything for free. And I call it the death of spirituality, the death of real teachers. Okay? Without real teachers saying real responsibility, people see the burdens of pricing. You need your $77, $33, $22, $333 healing that does nothing because they don't open the product, don't do anything about it. Okay? I've been saying since day one, people buy stuff and never open it. That's not just me, that's the entire industry. 90% of the people who buy a product never open it.
Let's unpack that a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, where's our thought process in that? Is it we're looking for that instantaneous healing? Is it part of our own escapism and addiction to staying in the victimhood? Oh my gosh, if I do heal, then what? Do we not understand what responsibility is?
It's all of that. It's all of that. For some people, they buy the product and don't open it because buying the product makes them think they're still in the game. Okay? Okay, and then there are the ones who practice twice a year, get something out of it, and then quit. But they hold that as a badge of honor and courage. I did it, but I'll never grow beyond it. Because it actually took a lot out of me to do that 1 week of work. Okay? And I don't have enough time, effort, or energy to put another couple weeks into it and have a daily practice for whatever reason. Okay? I use the term financial burden for a very specific reason. I put out a lot of stuff for free. Why? Because I want people to try it. I know what works and what doesn't work. And if you know it works on the free stuff, imagine what it does when you decide to say, Andrew, thank you for putting out these teachings. I actually want to have this opportunity and see the revalue in the teachings because I have now given a valuation to what I am worth individually person by buying this unique product, doing this unique class, doing this unique classes, doing the unique work that's attached with it, finding the responsibility to stick with it and follow through with it. And I'm not your guru. I'm just giving you the blueprint to do it on your own. I don't want to be anyone's guru. For the longest time, I was the anti-guru guru. Go do it yourself. Here's the blueprint. But that's the challenge of this modern world. They don't want to take on responsibility.
Do you think in addition to that or supporting that is that we're not aware, we have not allowed to be aware that we have currency and flow within us? And if we choose to redirect our currency and flow, so I'm directing my currency and flow into practicing the teachings. I am integrating the teachings, dare I say, as a fuel source for my own fire and my own practice. And therefore, if I enter into a monetary currency exchange, then we're making that connection to things that we would like to see prosper and flourish versus just dumping them down an empty hole. We call them dollars, but it's still our currency because we had to exchange energy in some format in order to receive those little digits in our bank account, did we not?
Sure. And then there's advertising. We have been, TV and radio has been advertising, and magazines have been advertising us passively and actively for a long time. Now, when I go, hey, why don't you come and join me on one of my next classes? The class costs $500. It's 8 hours of teachings, 8 brand new teachings. Come and join the community. And I'm doing my own shameless self-promotion. Am I any different than the sham wow guy from the 2000s?
Yes.
A lot of people perceive that any self-advertising as another sham wow guy or another Billy Mitchell selling you the next product, the next screwdriver that folds.
What do I say to that?
Okay. So when I advertise, I'm doing it because I do this as a business. I do it because I love doing it. Okay. And for whatever reason, sales are up, sales are down. In this current phase, been going on for the last 2 years, as you've all heard me say over and over and over again, people are not practicing. They have given up on practicing. Okay? And why is that?
I think there's multiple factors in
There
why
are.
they've given up on practice.
Name a couple.
Say it again.
Name a couple of the factors.
Well, one of them is that we have gotten tired and we feel like giving up because, let's just take this most recent news of, okay, working from home, that's enough. Now we need to have everybody come back. But they're coming back to a shithole. It's even worse now. You're coming into a state building and you're afraid now that you're going to get legionnaires because that's what you've been told. And why do I try? Why do I bother? So I think that's one factor.
I call that the polycrisis, the never-ending crisis of advertising the next psyop to you. Whether it's a psyop or it's real, doesn't matter. It's an advertising situation in which people are caught up in the endless crises that are being thrown at you.
And then let's take it right back to the title of the show, the relationships. Even though we may have practiced earlier, we somehow did not see the benefit of the relationship building with ourselves.
Yep.
And don't know where to go from there, possibly.
Because escapism has taken over so many people. Escapism has taken over.
But what's their goal is returning to the loop. And that's going to have to be fine because we all do get our choices.
Let me be blunt. The vast majority of people have nowhere to go to. They don't have a grounded base to even begin with.
Thank you for putting these teachings out here as a grounding base.
Okay? Look how victimhood has taken over this modern culture.
Completely, and that's a fact. But struggling to remove ourselves from that victimhood by choice. Sure, you were a victim. We all were. Everybody was born. It was trauma. It happened.
But add social media and victim posting. Okay?
Continuing it. And there we have to start to make those choices. It's challenging. But you're offering ways to make those choices, to reclaim the sovereignty, to rebuild that relationship with the self so that you can hope to enter into and attract an individual that can support their own wholeness right alongside your wholeness. It doesn't have to be perfect.
People's unresolved traumas allows them to sabotage every real relationship. And this is an unexamined privilege that floats while others drown, and the deep refusal to grow when life hands them the exact curriculum they need, which is teachings. And instead of saying, face the demon, the manifestation industrial complex say, love the demon, it will transform. Spoiler, most demons just want free real estate in your nervous system while you smile and call it integration. That is how dumbed down teachings have transformed the self-help, spirituality, and motivational industry. You cannot love the demon to change. You must figure out how to extradite it out of your system and deal with the traumas that it's done to you. And people don't want to pay that price.
Why not?
Because the instant gratification and materialism has taken over them at a very young age, or their middle age, and it's taken over their life where they're at right now.
And forgive my callousness, but so what? So what they choose not to? Does that mean that I have to go along with that? I say no.
Getting people to take radical responsibility for their own state and then act in good faith towards themselves and others. Good faith means you must show up as a person, claim who you are becoming, and it means you must do the unglamorous work when no one knows it or is watching you. The unglamorous work when no one is watching you. Stop using the get out of jail free cards. Stop being half committed. That's what the modern people are suffering from. They don't want to do the unglamorous work alone in their own times and have instantly share it with everyone else.
Okay. Some of us, I know that I have been experiencing some challenges for myself when it comes to doing a thing. I find myself facing this, but I just want a friend to do it with me.
Exactly.
I want somebody to play with me.
And
that's a hurdle.
It's a victim energy too.
Yes, sir, it is. For me. Why doesn't anybody want to play my game?
I have watched people go through what you're talking about over and over again, and they find that broken energy, and now they spiritually identify with the brokenness, and they suddenly feel meaningful with their own brokenness.
Because look at me, I'm so broken? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's a badge of honor to be broken, because I'm working on myself.
At least there's that.
Okay. But most of those people are never actually working on themselves.
Right.
They buy something, forget about it. They do a revocation one day, forget about it for a few years. It never actually means something to the greater growing them.
I can just say for my own particular practice that I've had to look at myself in the mirror a couple of times and go, so what? So nobody wants to play your game. Go play it anyway. Give them a chance to find you, but you got to start playing or nobody's going to show up.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now with, I love the idiots, assholes, and wankers.
Right. And I wrote that at a time where I needed to flip the frequency on my own challenges that I was going through. And I faced my internal challenges and said, I need to turn this into a teaching. All right. I love the comedy side. Let me look at the things that I've done in the past that have been really, really funny. And I came up with the revocation of idiots, assholes, and wankers. And that's one of our free 30-day challenge here. Shameless self promotion, everybody. Some of you are cringing and ignoring it. You can go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, and download the free teaching, the 30-day challenge of revocations of idiots, assholes, and wankers. There's the entire effort scale that's built into it that tells you how to apply it. It's a unique way for you to go through the 30 days and have a variety of things for you to practice that give you the opportunity of actual growth when dealing with idiots, assholes, and wankers.
And I'm going to tell you from my own experience that I can read just the bold print of this, and I love the design and the layout of it. Whoever you had do your graphics, thumbs up. That's beautiful.
That's Joel. He's our
Joel,
graphics.
good job. Good job, Joel. Really good.
Okay.
And just looking at the bold and going in from that angle, if I get 5 minutes on it, I've gotten a benefit. 15 minutes, like you're saying, with the C+ effort, and as you carry it out, so what? You get 5 minutes. Start somewhere. Start 15. It makes a difference. And being able to say them in your own voice and then hear it back like you've been telling us, to record it and listen to your own vibration. Because when you hear yourself skip over a word or stumble or just like consider what you're saying and hearing the attitude that you've got in there, then you can go back and record it. You can change that. That's playing with your own frequency. And yes, it's a lovely blueprint to do.
Stop treating the reality as a vending machine. Insert quarter for positive thoughts. Receive desired outcome. Well, the outcome does not arrive, the machine is broken, and you did not believe hard enough.
Yeah, that can happen. But sometimes, if you're way too drunk on whatever, and you're trying to push those buttons, you don't push the right buttons. Even though you got the quarter in there, it's still waiting on you to put the right input in.
All right, if anybody else would like to have a conversation with us, you can go to click that reaction buttons and click raise your hand. Okay, we'll see if anybody else wants to have a talk with us.
I think Paulina had a hand up.
All right, Paulina, let's see. Signal to unmute. Paulina, are you there?
Now I'm here, Andrew. Hey, such a long time no hear.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good today. What do you think of our conversation so far today?
I just tuned in, actually. I've been teaching yoga, so I just got back and I saw you had the show on, so I thought I would see what's going on. And I saw the subject of relationships, so I thought I would talk about that if you have availability.
Sure. We've been talking about the differences of relationships from different generations, what the modern generations fails, what the different challenges of men versus women versus sexuality versus how cell phones are taking away time from people having normal human connections. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, that's something different then. So I'm giving you another topic then. So last time we spoke, I had this thing with the relationship that I had to end because of things going on. And I've been thinking about when the energy gets so stuck, which has been still after almost 3 years now since we broke up, my previous relationship, and still that energy is in almost a daily thing in my mind without me wanting it to be.
Okay.
So I'm wondering about
It lives
relationship.
it lives rent free in your brain.
Exactly. And I'm not sure how to get rid of that or how to change that.
Okay. That's a shadow part of yourself allowing it to live rent free, and part of you still accepting the shadow has authority. So if you look at it as an inner mafia, there's a mafia boss, the underlings, the capos, the sergeants, etc. You've got to start from the bottom up and find out who's the low level mafia guys and who are they all paying at the top, which is the shadow, the head mafia boss. The one that is saying it can live rent free in your head, and the conscious awake Paulina doesn't have a choice about it.
And who would that be? Who is that mafia?
That's the totality of the negative sides of yous that haven't been dealt with over the years.
Okay. Can you give an example?
The relationship broke up. You were large and in charge at that time. You had been in business before, and you had to lessen yourself to stay in that relationship. Would you? And after you got out, you found it very hard to push yourself back up to where you should be, because you loved so hard and didn't get back what you needed from that love, which broke you. That's why relationships break people. Okay? As you went through the healing of your different levels of brokenness, you went too fast in some areas, too slow in other areas. Instead of regularly seeing the big picture, why am I repeating this over and over and over and over and over again? Because there was an avoidance mechanism in you that had to really come to the fact that you had to let the love die inside you and go through the mourning of the lost love. You weren't ready for it. Thus, the shadow was empowered on a regular basis, even though you were doing the work, actually getting regular results, but it kept creating new pitfalls for you because the real trauma was you loved so much, your heart is broken, the person truly couldn't grow with you, and I had to give out so much love, I don't know if I could ever love someone again. Or do I have love left for myself?
And how come it's still in that space now after so many years? I'm thinking
You've refused to deal with the reality of the brokenness and the love that you went through, and that there's still a part of you that's not letting go of the love and allowing it to die.
And how to find that specific part?
You got the part that's holding on to that negative dream, which is using it to project into your future life and future relationships that are or are not there.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how to find that part and just bring it out. I've tried so many different things.
Listen, you've been avoiding it for so long, it'll be the hardest thing you've ever done. You got to get in touch with the person that is still in love with that person and saying it cannot be anymore. That's where you start. The end point of that journey will be mourning of the lost love, just as if it was the death of a loved one. And it does take time to get over the loss of love.
Yeah, and I thought I did all of that, but obviously not.
No. You did the work. It just adapted to what you didn't do. Does that make sense? The shadow adapted to what you were fixing and created other things that were part of your avoidance mechanism. the long-term need of healing the lost love. 6 months into it, a year into it, you find yourself regularly repeating, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of victories over yourself. You get out there, you're empowered, you're doing, and then wait one night of insomnia, and it creeps right back in. Okay? Because you're still lost, have to go through the mourning of the lost love.
I'm just not sure how to do it, because I cried every day for a year, for the first year, and then did so many processes the second year, and still now I've felt like, okay, I'm done, but still the thoughts keep coming every single day.
Once again, you're literally repeating what I just said. It's adapting to you.
Oh my God.
It's adapting to you and waiting like a predator for your weak moments to come back in.
So should I see it as a separate part of myself doing this, you mean?
No, it's the shadow. It's the shadow. Okay? But that shadow has influenced a number of positive parts of yourself to be the bleeding heart loss. I'm not letting go of that love. Okay? The part that's victimizing you is a good part of yourself. The one that wants this love so much.
So the trick is to talk to that version, to that shadow.
You're going to have to treat it like a mafia.
Like a mafia.
They are criminals stealing from you. And the criminals have corrupted some good parts of yourself. Okay? What do mafia guys do? If a guy's got a gambling addiction, they let the gambling addiction get so high until they can't play again. They break a bunch of legs and forever taking money from them. That part that was a gambler, it started out as a good part, but got corrupted. And the mafia parts are slowly corrupting some of the good parts to yourself. And it's hard for people like you and me to admit we could get corrupted by our own selves. When you treat them like a mafia boss and that they got to go to jail, okay, you got to have investigators, you got to have no stone unturned, and use the highest form of radical honesty on yourself.
So like seeing the thoughts that are there, for example.
And where did the thought generate from? What mafia boss told this guy to tell this guy to tell this guy, so that it comes through me and it's 4 degrees of separation, so you can't see how the mafia boss is slowly influencing the various characters of yourself to keep it forever in your brain rent-free.
And when you say the people around the mafia boss, what would that be? Like other shadows of myself?
So you have your mafia boss, and then he has his captains. Okay, one captain controls how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror. Another captain is you're not worthy enough of having another relationship. Another captain is, your financial one. And another captain might be, I want to travel and do this and do this and do this. And you don't realize how it's pushing things into you to advance the avoidance mechanisms.
I see. And should I see that as imprints from different lifetimes, or just this lifetime? Or
it's all about this lifetime.
This lifetime.
Yeah.
So memories that are saved and become imprints, and in these forms like captains, as you said.
They become weaponized imprints.
And how would one deal with those imprints? If I find one captain, I see the imprint, and what do I do with that?
All right, well, you got to interrogate them. And go through the long interrogation process of that thing. What's your purpose? Who gave it to you? A lot of times they don't want to say who gave you that authority. Okay? You got to go through the entire journey of attempting to get it to flip on the boss. That's like the common crime stories. They want to get the guy to flip on the big boss. So your interrogation is in attempting to get them to flip on the boss and tell everything instead of holding out and holding out and holding out.
Mm. So that could be like coming from an old memory of when you were 6, this person said this to you, and that stuck here, and then you follow that into something else.
We have to go through the journey of the weaponized memories or the weaponized imprints. Very important term for you to internalize. Weaponized imprints, weaponized memories. A lot of the mafia bosses and the capos want to use they weaponize a memory against you, which is how it lives free in you. And you may have 40 or 50 weaponized memories. That is what allows the grander mafia boss to control the yearly you. What does the mafia boss want? He wants a tithing from all his capos, and then wants to be able to steal 30% of your yearly energy as a tax.
Mm. And that is a shadow version of myself that is doing that.
It is a shadow, but it has imprinted many good parts of yourself to be fearfully loyal to the mafia boss.
So I create this shadow to keep myself safe in a way.
Generally, yes.
And then I understand.
When you're growing up, you have different versions of the shadowy you that's there or not there. Okay? But as you became an adult that was in business, that was high frequency, doing lots of things, okay, you were in your height of your power.
Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Are you at the height of your power now?
No, I'm quite bored actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Then this is the time you really start to have to look at the various mafia underlings and captains and get them to start flipping on the entire network that's there. And you got to write it down. You got to make a connective web that shows you how they're all interconnected, so you can begin to get the ones that have been forced out of fear of the shadow to be loyal to the mafia boss, to break that fearful loyalty to the mafia boss, and once again be integrated back into yourself, or they must leave your personality.
I think this must be one of my major blocks, because I cannot even see what you're saying. I cannot relate to this analogy of the mafia boss. So it's probably very deeply rooted that I don't want to release this.
Again, it's because when you broke up, you had already known he was the perfect and not perfect person.
Mm.
Okay. The sexuality was very good. Okay. And you expected him to grow with you, and a year later, he wasn't meeting those expectations. Another time goes by, more and more times go by, and that person was going backwards and not forwards.
Mm.
Okay? And that hurt. And that still hurts you. I couldn't change him. He didn't want to change. Did he really love me? Which creates doubt inside you, which creates the avoidance mechanisms of the pain, the various individual memories of pain that have been weaponized against you by your own negative selves.
So interrogation of myself, like asking, where's this coming from? Who's supporting whom?
And then write it down and start working on the web of deceit that the mafia bosses use, who are using fear to get loyalty from good parts of yourself who are betraying you because they're afraid of the mafia boss, the shadow.
And can you see it as belief systems that I'm looking for?
Belief systems are 50% of it.
Okay.
The hardest part about belief system is there are false beliefs that you have.
Yeah.
And you have to confront them and that will hurt even more. And that's what fuels the subconscious avoidance mechanism. Deep down inside, you know it's a false belief, but the ego can't handle it now. It's still dealing with the loss of the love.
Yeah. And I'm not really sure still what I should do about it, but the questioning.
I already told you. Start the interrogation process. Write it down. Build out the web of the different aspects. What weaponized memory this one uses. What weaponized experience that one uses, until you can start creating a large document that begins to show you the giant web of internal manipulations and control from this mafia shadow network.
Mm. So, for example, thoughts I have about myself, those are the ones I'm looking for.
Right. And you got to write them down. And when you're interrogating the different shadowy parts of yourself, you got to be able to ask the really cutting, deep, hard questions to that particular part of yourself.
Mm.
Where's your written authority to do this? That's the one I like to ask myself. I don't have written authority. I took it.
Mm.
You took it from me. Well, I'm taking it back. And it goes, try. And that's the battle to the self. And that's why writing down the various arguments that the shadowy self has to stay empowered, that allows you to flip the frequency and create the words that unempower it.
Mm. So it's like you build a new identity or a version of yourself that is without the shadow.
Yeah, that's an easy way to say it, but the reality is you're going piece by piece, part by part, and determining, is it loyal to you or is it loyal to the shadow? And beginning the separation of densities, what loyal to you and your personal growth versus loyal to the shadow.
Mm.
And who you become afterwards will be the challenge of the work. You will have to get rid of good parts of yourself that are too fearful of the shadow to be loyal to you.
Yeah, because if you take that example with the mafia boss, I have no idea how to deal with the mafia boss. I think I would go into the fear state.
Right. Thus, maybe it's a good idea for you to watch some crime dramas. Right? Go watch some police investigations and, serial killer TV shows. May not be your genre, but it can give you all right, I got to learn to interrogate like an FBI master. Okay?
Yeah, that I can understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Go watch not NCIS. Any of the crime investigation shows. Okay. They're all they may be shitty to you, but it will help you understand how to be the authority that's interrogating and how to project authority to a shadow part of yourself that doesn't recognize your authority.
Mm.
And then breaking it to the point it flips and turns over all the real evidence, and still has to suffer the consequences of what it did.
Yeah, I'll try that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, darling, I got to let you go. We got to end the show today, but it's great talking to you again.
Yeah, same, Andrew. Thank you so much.
All righty. All right, everybody, to remind you, you go to my website, andrewbartzis.com, and you can join the 30-day challenge, Revocations, Idiots, Assholes, and Wankers. In that 30-day challenge, it is completely free. We'd like for you to come and then talk with us how you apply your daily practice to that work. Also, we got a big variety of products. Today was about relationships, friendships. We have a very special product in the store right now that is called Reawakening, the Human Symphony of Friendships, Relationships, and Sacred Relationships. Give us a benefit of your purchase as the teachings expand and explore.